What's up, superhero fans? Welcome back to another episode of Superhero Related, and in today's video we're going to be covering 5 things that Spider-Man Miles Morales did better than Marvel Spider-Man 2018. I will be covering this story with my good friends Caduce. If you guys do enjoy what we're saying, please make sure you hit that like button down below and consider subscribing to the channel to stay up to date with some of the best superhero news on YouTube. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. One of the things that I noticed was stealth in this game. I do know Miles Morales came out in 2020, and that was a newer game compared to Marvel Spider-Man 2018 that released on the PlayStation 4. Even though this game did come out on the PlayStation 5, we do got to take in consideration that it is still a game itself and it's still thought about from the same developers. I feel like Miles Morales stealth, even though he did have the camouflage, that it was a lot more reliant on stealth in this game compared to Marvel Spider-Man 2018. Now, I do know it is an advantage since Miles Morales, like I said, does have his camouflage modes, but I feel like in Marvel Spider-Man 2018, no matter how hard you try to stay in stealth mode, even if it's just like you webbing up a couple enemies, eventually it gets to the point to where you get caught and it's like, well, it's time for you to go out there and battle.
Stealth mechanic in Miles Morales just felt natural because he came with the character, the ability to go invisible or to camouflage yourself within your environment. I would say that did give him an advantage in order to switch his approach during combat whatever he felt like it. So you could just go back to being invisible and change your approach overall, or you can just come and being invisible from the get-go and then take out your opponents one by one. I would say it kind of made the gadgets feel so obsolete, but then made them feel like it was a second choice to use. So the gadgets plus the camouflage ability made the stealth mechanic feel much more effective. Now, the atmosphere in Miles Morales just felt, very cozy, because obviously we had the snow effects in New York City. So swinging around New York in snow, with Miles, obviously with his scarf and all that stuff, just made it feel like, had that Christmas vibe, that festive period going around in the game. So it depends when you play the game, because obviously I played it during Christmas time, so it did bring that kind of a festive experience or feel to it. So it's kind of a game that you want to play, when you're cozy, kick up your feet, grab your controller and just have some fun in the Marvel Spider-Man universe. So in my opinion, I think that just made it the whole atmosphere more special for a lot of people, depending on when you played it. But obviously I don't know which to prefer, whether it's the sunset filter or the snow filter. I think they're both gorgeous in my opinion, but I would say the snow filter all day.
I 100% totally agree with what you're saying. I do enjoy how they did have that festive and Christmassy feeling. It kind of reminds me and other fans of Batman Arkham Origins, but Miles Morales definitely did have the better atmosphere compared to Marvel Spider-Man 2018, just because you can see a lot of people walking the streets of New York and even doing things like curling and having little events going on in different parts of the story, like when we were going to his mom's pep rally for mayor. I do feel like the Christmas streets of New York City and Miles Morales were a lot more alive compared to Marvel Spider-Man 2018. Another thing I did like how they did incorporate in the game is where you can see people, depending on when the weather is changing, they're wearing different clothing, such as if the snow is a lot more heavier than it was in the daytime, you can see people wearing additional scarves and even having umbrellas, opposed to when it's sunny and it's not really snowing at all. They're wearing their regular snow attire, but I do like how they did incorporate the difference between the weather change and time of the day change.
Side missions in 2018 Spider-Man was just something that a lot of people complain about, because obviously they give us a chunky amount of MJ. Do you know what I mean? So we were playing as MJ most of the time in the side missions, playing a stealth gameplay as MJ, where we had to sneak into a facility here and there, do all sort of things. People just didn't want that. You just wanted to be swinging and kicking some ass as Spider-Man. Do you know what I mean? So Miles Morales came along and had nothing to do with MJ or any side mission that wasn't around Miles Morales. So we had options to go and collect all the sound samples. We had the side quests with the rock sons, but all these are just things that are gonna actually lead to you unlocking a new suit, which is all around Miles Morales. And obviously, as he was learning to be the only Spider-Man in New York, it was just something that was revolving around him in order for him to actually find who he is and become who he's meant to be. So in my opinion, I think the side missions in Miles Morales was just slightly better, because I think the dev did listen. But obviously, yeah, you know what happened in the following game, right?
Exactly. When the developers listen to the people, you get gold. But you are right. Side missions were a lot better in Spider-Man Miles Morales just because you felt like as Spider-Man you were making a difference among the community. That was one of the things I felt better about playing Spider-Man Miles Morales than Marvel Spider-Man 2018. It's just like you said, people hated the MJ missions. They hated the Screw-Out missions. They were literally the worst, and I felt like they didn't have any purpose to the story, or they were some super crazy side quests that nobody really even cared about, opposed to playing Spider-Man Miles Morales where you were able to take on big level threats along with helping the little people cross the streets of New York City. You were able to tie in helping the smaller people in New York, opposed to playing the main story where you're taking on a Roxxon and you're taking on the Underground. You were able to incorporate both, and I feel like Miles Morales implemented that both perfectly, even if it's just something small like helping a fan take pictures or rescuing a couple cats across the cities. I feel like the people interaction were a lot better in Spider-Man Miles Morales than they were in Marvel Spider-Man 2018.
The web swinging in Miles Morales was just about the same as that of 2018 Marvel Spider-Man. The only few differences I would say is because we had the Venom Dash, which is part of Miles' ability. So you could be swinging as Miles and then obviously switch into using the Venom Dash, which is gonna leap you into further distance. I think that's just something that was added into the game, which made the whole experience more dynamic. Instead of, using the same regular web swinging animations, you can switch up a bit just to have a little bit of fun. And obviously if you play the game on launch on the PS5 with the PS5 controller, I think that did add a little bit of an extra layer to the experience, because you can toggle on and off if you wanted to play on the performance mode or if you wanted to play on the fidelity mode, which then gave you an advantage because you could then play on 60 frames per second and have that smoothness in your gameplay. But apart from that, I would say maybe they did polish the game a little bit, but it's not something that would be a deal breaker or that you would notice. But yeah, the Venom Dash definitely was a massive improvement. It was very welcomed by everyone in the community, and I totally love it to this day.
As Kadu said, the Venom Dash was a huge improvement to the Spider-Man Miles Morales swinging mechanics. In Spider-Man Miles Morales game, I love how they added to where if you needed that speed boost, you can dash yourself forward using the Venom Dash, and if you needed that rise in the sky, you can use the Venom Jump that allowed you to reach taller buildings in the game if you were too low to the ground and you didn't want to have to run up a building. I do enjoy how Miles Morales swinging gives it a smoothness to the player's gameplay, and it feels as if it's more of a freestyle flow when you are swinging with Miles, as it gives some different animations, along with using the Venom boost that allows Miles to do either a Venom spiral or a Venom flip. That was one of the things that fans love, is the different animations that it gave Miles depending on the speed and the velocity of the character, and the way that the web would attach to the surface of the building as he is swinging. I do like how even though Miles Morales is a younger Spider-Man, he's a lot less developed as Peter. So if you were swinging and you landed on the ground wrong, Miles Morales would not be able to catch himself and land on his feet like a more experienced Peter Parker would be able to. Even if you gave Peter a more of a weaker animation, he would land on his feet or do a roll. Miles Morales would simply hit the ground and roll around until he's able to gather himself so he can start swinging again.
The story in Miles Morales just felt really short, and for a lot of people that's a deal breaker. But at the same time, Insomniac managed to pack in a lot of emotions into a 15 hours long game. So in my opinion, I think I wouldn't say it's overall better, but it's totally a different tone in how Insomniac approached the story in Miles Morales, because I would say for a lot of people would say it's the better story because it's all revolving around Miles Morales, because he lost his dad and then he had to go to healing with his uncle, trying to accept him back into the family. So his best friend from childhood's come back, and she's been through this tremendous experience which has left her in a dark place, and now she's trying to crawl her way back out. And Miles is trying to be there to help her, to get her into a better place, and that's how she became the Tinkerer, which is she's the main villain in the game. So in my opinion, I would say it's an experience, and it's a story that's just revolving around Miles Morales, because also he discovered his powers and trying to create a balance within his life and all the chaotic situations going on. It's gonna carry a really heavy load on your shoulders. So I would say the story did have a different approach. It did hit home in some kind of way. It's gonna drive you emotions, especially towards the end of the game, where you make huge sacrifices for the people you love. So yeah, Miles Morales, totally on the storyline, it might have felt short, but it was very, very impactful in terms of what it has to say and the kind of message it is delivering.
This guy's Caduce, man, he's literally hitting everything on the nose, guys. We all know that Spider-Man Miles Morales was supposed to be DLC for Marvel Spider-Man 2018, but the developers decided to switch it and give Miles his own story, making him, just for a little while, New York's only Spider-Man, and I think that worked out perfectly. I do enjoy how Miles Morales, as I stated before in the video, he is a younger Spider-Man. He was younger than Peter when he first got his powers at the age of 12, and he's still trying to balance everything in life. I do enjoy how the story is shorter and it isn't as rushed as most 15-hour campaign games will feel. Spider-Man Miles Morales is, like Skadoo said, it's more of a heartwarming story. It's around the holiday times, it's around the festivities. It gives more of a sentimental story when he has to battle his best friend. I feel like even though this Spider-Man is a younger Spider-Man, he is dealing with the loss of his father. He went from having both parents to only having one, and then dealing with the weight of his shoulders on trying to protect his mom and his family between a battle of Roxxon and the Underground. Now, I'm not saying that Marvel Spider-Man 2018 had a bad story at all. That's not what I'm saying. I can honestly see the comments going right now. I'm not saying that Marvel Spider-Man 2018 was bad at all. All I'm saying is Miles Morales gave fans a different angle and a perspective of a life of actually playing as Spider-Man as a teenager, with dealing with seeing his best friend turn into the enemy and then sacrificing herself to save the city. So it's kind of one of those things like you see in the movies. It's a good guy that turned bad and then turned back good again. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Let me know if you guys did enjoy this video. I honestly want to know what you guys think about it. Do you think what we're saying is correct? Do you think that Marvel Spider-Man 2018 had a better everything than Spider-Man Miles Morales? Let me know down in the comment section below, guys. It's there for a reason. We want you guys to use it. Thanks for tuning in to the channel. If you did enjoy the video, please hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel. And thanks for tuning in to GME Podcast.